Margaret Castle.
Here.
Wilford Potter. Here. Edward Gilson's absent excused. David Holes. Here. Roy Reedle.
Here.
John Martino.
Here.
Bradley Trudeau.
Here.
Paul House.
Here.
James Weatherup.
Here.
Mariana Chesbrook.
Here.
Linda Lockwood.
Here.
Richard Klein.
Present.
Patrick Twist.
Here.
Stephen Walpole.
Here.
Nathan Emmons.
Here.
Thomas Drum.
Here.
Shane Broadwell.
Here.
Heather Del Conte.
Here.
Marie Schott.
Here.
Tim Stahl.
Here.
Terry Wilbur.
Here.
James Karasik.
Here.
Morris Sabello.
Here.
Daniel Fafaya.
Here.
Frank Cecilia.
Wouldn't miss it. Would the clerk lead us for the invitation?
Please stand. As we come together this day, let us be thankful for its blessings, its opportunities, and its challenges. Help us to be ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community. Keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Grant us clarity of purpose and protect us from all distractions. Amen. At this time, I'll ask Staff Sergeant Dimon of the Army National Guard to lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, has everybody had a chance to review the minutes of the June 13th meeting? We'll look for a motion to approve. So second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. The minutes of the June 26th meeting.
On those minutes for that date, resolution PS2 should be corrected to 18 yes, no 0, absent 7. IT1 was presented by Legislator Martino. The vote should be 16 yes, 2 no, 7 absent. That was in opposition, Legislators Del Conte and Drum.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve as amended. Moved by Legislator Wilbur, seconded by Legislator Klein. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to have a proclamation. If we could have the Human Services Committee come forward, along with the RISE Director, Nina Lutz.
Everybody ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And a second. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, this is a designating July 26, 2019 Americans with Disabilities Awareness Day in Oswego County. So I'll read the proclamation. Whereas the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, is a landmark piece of legislation that guarantees access to employment, public accommodations, services, and telecommunications to persons with disabilities, and whereas ARISE works with constituents, other advocacy, and community groups to bring forth the promise of hope and freedom that is envisioned by the passage of the ADA. And whereas on July 26, we celebrate the 29th anniversary of the ADA and recognize the enormous contributions arise for ensuring that the rights of individuals with disabilities are acknowledged and protected. And whereas the County of Oswego is proud to join with the RISE, which works to ensure that the rights of individuals with disabilities are protected through advocacy, education, information, and independent living skills training by reaffirming the dignity, independence, and self-worth of all individuals with disabilities. Now therefore, on behalf of Jacob Weber, Chairman of the Oswego County Legislature, and on behalf of the entire legislature, we hereby designate July 26, 2019 as Americans with Disabilities Awareness Day. And we urge all Oswego County residents to affirm the principles of equality and inclusion for persons with disabilities as set forth in the Americans with Disabilities Act.
So, one of the things, actually I should tell you, I was going to wear a black suit to go with this today, but it might have been the wrong look, so my wife talked me out of it. Little eye booger there, so it'll be fine. I have the privilege of being able to be one of these people that live on both sides of the fence. I enjoy my job as a legislator. I'm very proud of the legislative body and some of the things that they've done over the last few years, a couple of projects coming up. We're getting push-button doors on the clinic at the health department. Every time there's a discussion about modifications, building changes, Phil Church is our ADA guy. He's very in tune with him and I having a conversation and trying to make sure that the buildings and facilities for people that have disabilities in the county are taken care of, which makes it much easier. The American Disabilities Act was passed, and unfortunately it did not come with any real enforcement behind it. So it's taken a lot of years of people with disabilities to advocate, push, and get government to understand we've got the law, but now we need to comply. And we've come a long ways. There's a lot of great things that are going on, and there's still a long ways to go. There's still people that are left behind. There's still people that don't have access to jobs, schooling, everyday recreational, being able to get out in the community. So once again, I'm very pleased with this particular body in government that you guys get it. We've had these conversations several times. I've never had somebody say to me, you know what, Jim, we're not going to look at that. So that's a sense of self-pride for me as a person with disabilities. It's certainly a self-pride to us in the RISE as we advocate for people that have disabilities. I do want to mention just a couple quick things, and I'll let Mindy speak for a second. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, Hamilton Park, and I know some of you know this, Oswego County, the city of Oswego, will be opening their first adaptive playground. And we would like to make you aware that we want you there because we had a group of people that just baked like 7 dozen cupcakes today. Ordered 6 dozen donuts, and I don't know what the heck else they got piled up on that for tomorrow. But Billy Barlow's going to be there. The young lady that inspired him to build this playground will be there to do the ribbon cutting, and we would love to have you join us for it. The other thing is, on the 26th, which is the actual day the ADA was signed, at the Arise office in the morning, we're going to have a light breakfast. We have no idea what the menu is yet, but we're going to keep it simple. Stop by, pick something up, have a cup of coffee, just say hi, and share that day with us a little bit. You can do that on your way to work. We open at 8. We got a few things, a couple quick speeches at 8:30, but we'd love to see you and serve you something to eat and drink, and just have a chance to recognize the fact that you're a team partner with what we're doing. Thank you. Ready?
So I'm Betty DeFazio. I'm the Chief Development Officer at RISE, and I just want to thank the county legislature and Jim for recognizing the importance of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Not all communities come together the way Oswego County has, and we are really proud to be an active member of this community and to enjoy the support that you have all shared with us and with members in our community who have disabilities, whether it's supporting the ramp program or having the foresight to work on things like an accessible playground. And we thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Moving along, public speakers on resolutions of the day. Mr. Funk. Over there, you have 5 minutes unless it's good news.
Unless it's good, it'll be 3. First of all, I want to introduce myself and my company. My name is Don Fountain. I'm the plant manager at Lidal. For those of you that have been in the community for a while, it's the old Armstrong facility. We were in the late 1890s, so it's been in business for over 120 years. Armstrong sold it off in the late 90s to private equity. And until September last year, we were private equity held. We were recently purchased. You would have known it as Interface Performance Materials. We were purchased by Lidal September 1st last year, so about 10 months ago now. At our peak, we were over 500 employees. Today, we hover right at 80. So strategically, Lidal is a publicly held company versus a privately held company or a private equity company. So we think that's a good thing for the community. And what I'm here to talk about really is EP3, which is your wastewater treatment needs, and done some research in the community. There appears to be a pretty severe shortage of capacity. My facility has a self-contained 8 million gallon per day wastewater treatment operation. I currently use less than 1 million gallons of processing capacity today. So with the community need and our capacity, I think there's an opportunity to partner. From my perspective and the company's perspective, there's an advantage for us economically. We're always under competitive pressure, particularly from China and India. We play in a worldwide market, so we're under constant cost pressures to improve and eliminate unneeded waste. In this case, 7 million gallons of capacity. We are also obviously permitted by the DEC. Secondarily, we have a small plant for sanitary, which is separate. Our 8 million gallon plant is for industrial water, and then we have a smaller sanitary plant. Both are permitted. So if you look at where we're located, it's a very strategic location. We're in Valmy, just north of Fulton and obviously south of Oswego. And there's been several leaders in the community, both in the legislature and the economic development team, that have commented publicly about wastewater treatment being a critical element of economic growth and development for the community. So what I'm looking for is the best way to move this forward, open the dialogue, and partner with the appropriate people within the community. And that's really all I have. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Reports of county officials. Mr. Church.
Yes, I just wanted to point out that the mid-year expense report is in all of your mailboxes.
Thank you. Reports of standing committees. Reports of
Mr.
special
Chairman.
committee- Oops, sorry. My bad. Legislator choice.
Forgot.
If I forget people.
I just want to point out the Environmental Management Council released its environmental report. And I wanted to also point out that we're in dire need of new members, so if you have anybody that you know of that's interested in the environment and getting more involved, we'd love to have you. And there's packets, I can email you packets, and I think there's packets over there, I can't remember. I think Chris sent them. But feel free to reach out to me if you are interested.
Thank you. Anything else on special committees? Thank you. Moving right into resolutions. GC1 by Legislator Holt.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution for adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, county attorney, unallocated insurance.
Right, this will cover deductibles for estimated accidents that probably happen for the remainder of the year.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution GC2 by Legislator Holt.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution, urges adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution establishing the 2019 county equalization rates for towns and cities within Oswego County.
It's pretty self-explanatory. This is, we have all the cities and towns, everybody listed here, for equalization rates.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Castillo.
I'd just like to know how the state sets the equalization rate. Does anybody have an idea?
Well, there is a formula, and I know we can look it up. I won't speak to it because I'd get the numbers wrong, but it is, I've seen it before. There is a process for that, and I can help you get that if you need. Your assessment. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution GC3 by Legislator Holt.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution, urges adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution fixing time and place for public hearing relative to proposed County of Oswego local law number 2 of the year 2011 entitled "A Local Law Increasing the Term of Office for County Legislators from a 2-year term of office to a 4-year term of office."
Yes, and this is just going to be a public hearing, and the people have a chance to voice their opinion if they want us to be on a 4-year term or a 2-year term.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Legislator Forsythe.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. About 20 years ago, the city of Bolton mayor's office had 2-year terms, and the referendum in 1998 that they put to the voters to make it from 2 years to 4 years. And then in 1999 was the first year that they had an election for that 4-year term. And so I do think that it's wrong to put this up during an election year. So I have a series of amendments to the dates. I think that this should be done next year and not this year. So, amendment that I am offering. Section 3.
This is a resolution for a public hearing, not for the law itself.
This is only to discuss setting the time and place for a public hearing.
Right, but there's some language in here that need to be fixed prior to the public hearing.
Yes.
So I'm going to offer these amendments and then change some dates in this. Section 3, where it says November of 2019, change that to November of 2020. And let's see, the sentence after that, where it says 2019 general election, make that 2021 general election.
Mr. Chairman, I go back.
Excuse me, I got the
Point of
floor.
order.
I have the floor.
Point
Get
of
out.
order.
I have the floor. I have the floor.
Listen, let's calm down.
I have
for
a
minute.
question.
This is unwarranted. Get out, Terry. I have the
Point of
floor.
order.
Sit down. I have the floor.
Point of order. Everyone, we're going to talk about this like adults, okay? Now, are you offering these all as one amendment?
Exactly.
Changing the date for all of one amendment, yes.
So it's all one amendment, or
Yes.
change all these dates? All right, continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Very much appreciated. Okay, same paragraph. January 1st, at the very end, where it says 2020 should be 2022. And let's see, section 4, where it says November 7th, 2019, that should be November 5th, 2019. That should be November 7th, 2020. And at the end of section 4, part of the ballot for the 2019 general election, that needs to be changed to 2020 as well. And section where it says, if this local law is approved, at the very end, where it says 2019 general election, 2020. And section 7, referendum in 2019 general election, that also needs to be made 2020. And section 8, where it says 2019 general election, also 2020. So those are my amendments, and I'd like a roll call, please.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, we have an amendment on this resolution, and a second for discussion. Legislator Wilbur.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do would like to draw the attention to Robert's Rules of Order, which do, no offense, legislative compliant, do consider interruptions in the middle of debate. So I will reference that. Secondly, I do want to call that back to my original point of order. This resolution pertains to setting the date and time for the public hearing to get public comments on the resolution that was presented already. So all we are voting on here with this resolution is to set a time and place for the public hearing. We are not discussing the resolution that's being brought forward, just that time and place for public hearing.
Thank you. Legislator Del Conte.
So, Mr. Wilbur, are you saying then that if we don't agree with, if some of us don't agree with what is being brought forward, that we shouldn't speak to it? Just because the only thing we're speaking to is whether or not we agree with the public hearing, regardless of what that public hearing is bringing forward, I think that that is very material.
In all due respect, Legislator Del Conte, the resolution that's in front of me pertains to setting a public hearing time and place.
Agreed. Legislator Castillo. This must be a long one, you're standing up.
Yeah, but when it gets a little heated in here, it tends to make me want to stand up because I don't like people talking down to me. I have to disagree with Legislator Wilbur in the fact that you're calling a public hearing, and in that public hearing, they're going to read what is being presented to them, and they're going to be able to make their opinion then. And if we don't change it now, we can't change it later, because you'd have to have a second public hearing on anything that's amended to the resolution that you're bringing forward. And for that reason, those reasons alone, we are presenting amendments now. And I feel that it is important for us to change these and put these amendments in. There's a few that Legislator Farfaya did enter into, is that fact that we would like term limits, and we would also like reduction in the legislative body, because that has to come in front of the whole county to be voted on if we're going to change it, because you can't change it without a vote on by the whole county. I'm sorry, that's our feelings on it.
Thank you. Legislator Trudeau.
Right now, I'm not in favor of the amendment to the resolution, so if during my brief discourse I wander back to the original and that's inappropriate, please let me know. But I'll not be voting in favor of the amendment. However, I will be voting in favor of the original as written. And the reason being, we do have a representative type government. That's our tradition, that's our standard, that's our process in this country. When we bring up items that are extremely, well, any item where we could go off astray as a representative body, we should be bringing those up as a referendum where the population in general votes on them, because they're about the rules that we've got to follow them. So as such, I would just say that bringing this up for public discussion and setting this up for public discussion, if the public doesn't like this the way it's presented, they can vote no on it if it goes forward to the referendum. That's the whole point of this. And as many members of the public that want to come to any of these meetings right now, of course, they're always welcome, and I encourage it for my own constituents, of course, and anyone, because we need public discussion. That's what this resolution is about, the public discussion piece. And, you know, legislator, and I do agree with you that, hey, these are the pieces in here. Do we want to change what's written in these things? Maybe in the future, if this is wrong or whatever. But the way it's written right now, this is the way it's presented. This is what the public can look at and say yes or no as a body.
Legislator Castillo.
I'm sorry, but once you have a public hearing and the information is in front of the public that they're voicing their opinion on, and it's gonna go to a vote, that is what the information that they have, and that's what they're gonna go by. If you're gonna change it, you have to change it before the public hearing. You can't change it after the public hearing. Am I wrong on that, Mr. Mitchell? If we change it after the public hearing, is there a need for another public hearing so that the public can, again, decide on whether or not they are in favor of it or not?
The effective date of the law would be a material change to the law as proposed, and it would require a separate hearing. Yes.
So any amendments that we make, we have to make now, we can't make after the public hearing, correct?
You can make amendments after you consider the public hearing, but you have to schedule another hearing on those amendments. And just as a caveat, there is a time limitation getting things to the board for referenda. So that's up to this body.
Legislator Shaw.
I understand, you know, the direction of streamlining, and I think it is an opportune time, if you're doing that, to offer reduction in the size of the legislature to 15 at the minimum. We're much larger than Onondaga County and many counties around us with a population in free fall. And I think any way we can demonstrate to the taxpayer, we are trying to reduce, make smaller and less costly, it is the time to do it.
Thank you.
Thank
Legislator.
you.
Thank you. Legislator Twist.
So this is just kind of for my clarification, you're not, what's being stated is not, you're not opposed to the four-year term, just saying the timing is incorrect. Is that my, okay, that was just for my
Legislator Rio.
This is a question for Mr. Mitchell. Is it appropriate to be able to actually change the language of the local law now in this, or are we, you know, isn't that the appropriate process to be changed during the public hearing, and after the public hearing, after comment?
If this body wishes to change the effective date of local law prior to advertising for a public hearing, you may do so. The law must be in final form before it goes to public hearing, and there's a 5-day requirement. So that would just save you another hearing if you decide this is what you're going to do after your next meeting when you have the public hearing. But you may wish to hear the commentary at the public hearing before you make changes as well. So that's up to you.
Thank you. Legislator Wilbur.
Yeah, I just want to clarify to my colleague across the aisle, yes, you can make a change to it. What I was saying was you take it to public hearing as presented, that the people have seen this, you know, out there, we've had newspaper reports on it, et cetera. And then if there is a change that's needed, we can do that after the public hearing and then have another public hearing. And I understand, you know, you're saying have a second public hearing, but I am not about to put something out to the public, change it midstream, get all the confusion going. I think we should follow suit with a resolution that was brought forward for the public hearing and go into that. Look, we might not agree, we can agree to disagree, but we need to have respect. The legislator from fire, when you called me out, I didn't like that. But number two, when I call a point of order, it's in Robert's rules, so I respectfully disagree with that.
All right. Let's still maintain like adults.
Exactly.
Is there anything to add, Legislator Castillo?
On the amendment, no, sir.
You're voting no?
On the amendment, I'm saying.
Just kidding, just kidding. All right, we have an amendment before us. I think we've all discussed it, we've all fought. It's been made and seconded, and we've asked for a roll call vote.
Correct.
Clerk, take the roll.
Margaret Kessler.
I'll pass.
Wilford Potter.
No.
Edward Gilson's absent, excused. David Holst.
No.
Roy Rito.
No.
John Martino.
No.
Riley Trudell.
No.
Paul House.
No.
James Weatherup.
No.
Mary Ellen Chesbro.
No.
Linda Lockwood.
No.
Richard Klein.
No.
Patrick Twist.
No.
Stephen Walpole.
No.
Nathan Evans,
No.
Thomas Drum,
Yes, the amendment.
Shane Broadwell,
No.
Heather Del Conte,
Yes.
Marie Shaw,
Yes.
Tim Stoll,
No.
Terry Wilbur,
No.
James Crosser,
No.
Morris Rebello,
No.
Daniel Fafia,
Yes.
Frank Castillo,
Yes on the amendment.
Margaret Casser,
No.
19-5.
Thank you. So, back to the original resolution, we do have a typographical. Highlight that.
Just noted on here, and it just catch local law number 2 of the year 2011 should read local law number 2 of the year 2019. This will be the second local law this year.
Okay, so, back to the original. Any discussion?
Do we need an amendment on that, though?
Amendment just for a typo?
It's just a typo. It's
Okay.
correct.
Let me make sure.
Legislator, or we'll go with. Legislator, okay.
All right. I would just have a question, I guess, on the timing, since we are talking about that. I personally don't understand, if this isn't about hoarding power and securing paychecks, then why the urgency and the timing? I guess I'm just not understanding that. So someone who is supporting the resolution, I'd just like to understand that.
Legislator Castillo. You're just my go-to, I know you.
I know. It has been mentioned that this is non-political, this is a cost savings and an efficiency process is why we're doing this. I believe that's been said, I saw it quoted in the paper, but the papers could be wrong, 'cause a lot of times they get quotes wrong. I would like to know what the cost savings are. Whoever the sponsor is, can somebody tell me what the cost savings are by going to from 2-year to 4-year?
Legislator Rio.
Well, clearly the savings will be the cost of the election that will be skipped every 2 years, or whatever cost savings that is. But in my opinion, part of the reason to do this now has to do with the state changing the election laws, and that we all had to decide in February or this year, before we were going to carry petitions in March, whether or not we were going to run. And I don't know how many people asked me as I was carrying petitions, weren't you just here? Didn't you just do this? And with our experience now of 5 years and a half or so on the ledge, pretty much took about 4 years to really have a handle on all the mechanizations of the Oswego County government and to be as effective as possible. So I totally support this resolution now and the timing of it.
Thank you. Legislator Trudeau.
You just answered my question, that's all. I'm not done yet, so I'm sorry. May I still have the floor?
Legislator Trudeau.
I would just like to directly answer Legislator DeConte's question, which was the timing of it. And this is not about paychecks and hoarding power. I just want to say, I get asked quite a bit. This is my first term. I get asked quite a bit out there. Hey, are you having fun? My standard answer is no. It's not necessarily fun occasionally, but there's a level of satisfaction you get in doing public service. But for $13,200 a year, I think that's the number. If anybody knows that that's not what it is, or if it's more or less, it's around $13,000 a year. I personally am definitely not here for a paycheck, and others that I talk to probably aren't here for a paycheck as well. So again, for me, and I won't speak for anyone else, it's definitely not about the paycheck. It's definitely not about hoarding the power. I encourage in our caucuses, I encourage in other meetings all the time, let's have a discussion. And I personally have nothing to lose by going out and being maybe slightly one way or the other with my own party. Because again, I'm here to serve the public. And again, not necessarily fun, but there is a level of satisfaction. So the timing on this, I can't give you a direct answer on why the time. Is it urgent? It's definitely important. And I'll go back to my original statements when I said that referendum. We have a representative government where we come and we make decisions based on what we believe is the best thing for our constituents. Things of this magnitude as a referendum are for the entire population out there that is eligible voters. So if we don't do this now, it's going to wait a couple of election cycles. So I would say that is my answer for you as one of the people supporting the original resolution.
Legislator Castillo.
Yes. The saving of voting. We have two-year terms in both city common councils. We have two-year terms on both state reps. We have two-year terms on our federal congressmen. I believe all town boards and village boards are all 2 years also, so I don't believe, what? 4 years. All of them? I don't think all of them are. But anyways, you got 1, 2, 3 that are gonna be definitely 2 years all the time. So putting an extra line on every 2 years is, taking that line off is not gonna be a cost savings. I mean, if you wanted a cost savings, you would have voted in favor of that amendment that reduced the legislature, which would save you $160,000 a year.
Legislator Duncan.
Yeah, I guess I go back to the timing of it, because at the same point to Legislator Trudell, there were people who made decisions based on the system as it existed, and there were people who may have wanted to run and didn't, say it's not really worth it for the 2 terms or whatever. I'm not exactly sure what went through everyone's decision-making process, but to switch the ball mid-game is quite backhanded, actually. There's no explanation for it. If it is not about voting power, then you wait the 2 years and you do it then. And don't hide the ball on anyone. Prospective candidates, if this is really a representative government, then you don't hide the ball on prospective candidates who may have put their hat in the ring if they knew it was a 4-year term, based on their family commitments and the other things that go into making the decision, because you're right, it usually isn't about the paycheck. You don't make enough. But you don't switch the ball mid-game. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Legislator Trudell.
Yes, 4 years ago, our caucus submitted a reform proposal. It was called the Transformation Agenda. And the idea of 4-year term was part of that plan, but so was term limits and the reduction of the legislature along with a number of other ideas that the public should have the right to weigh in on. And the only thing I heard from any discussion of that was that there was positive response toward the 4-year term, but nothing else. And that was it. And now all of a sudden this shows up on an agenda, and I still don't know how it came about now. Can somebody please explain how this came about and why are we doing this now?
Legislator Schott.
I'm strictly crunching numbers on the savings end. If we did eliminate 10 legislators in this, when we do the 4-year change, with co-pays and wages, I think I can't do a Social Security number right now, but if you would say about 850,000 every 5 years, I think that's significant. It's something to be considered in when we ask the question.
Thank you. Legislator Clifford.
I just kind of want to respond to Legislator Farfalle, I guess. It was your idea, so government moves slow. It happened eventually.
It wasn't the only.
I wasn't here, it was a joke, but
There was
just
more
saying.
parts of it.
It was your idea.
Yeah, but there was more parts of
I'm
it.
against the idea.
Legislator.
I was just saying.
I have to piggyback off Legislator Del Conte's comments in that it would have made a lot of difference to a lot of people on whether or not they were going to run, or whether they were going to run again, if they had known that it was going to be a 4-year term. To change it after all the petitions have been in, and nobody else can run now unless you go with a write-in campaign, it's eliminated it for those people, and it's locked in the people that are running now. And the only opposition that has been in this election year has been within the Republican Party itself, because they've had all the primaries. I'm sorry, it's not something that should be done. You have it, but I'm saying you should put it off to the next 2-year term. Sorry.
Legislator Burkett.
I still don't have an answer to my question. Who decided to do this now?
The body's deciding to have a hearing, and that's all. That's what we're
No,
voting
no,
on.
no.
Legislator Evans.
I'd just like to respond in part to this kind of timing question. I think it's pure speculation to state that this would have changed the dynamics of what just happened in terms of our petition collection, the resulting primary. To simply make a statement that, well, this would have changed everything, that's pure speculation. Unless somebody's going to step forward and say, oh, I know somebody that would have changed their mind somehow because it was going to be a 4-year term instead of a 2-year term. It's pure speculation to simply state that this would have changed the dynamic somehow, some way. And secondly, I mean, to change the dates, I heard earlier that folks were still for the 4-year term, but we're just about changing dates of it. To me, this becomes into a philosophical conversation. Are you for the 4-year terms or are you against the 4-year terms in terms of what we're talking about? We can get into the weeds all day long about whether it's 2019, 2020, 2021. My sense is you're either for it or you're against it. And that's where the people come in to decide through referendum in terms of what they ultimately like to see out of the legislature.
Thank you. Legislator Martino.
I call the question. Okay. We've been over it.
Make a ruling.
You gotta get a second on it.
Good. Hey, now I'm saying at this point. We need a second. Seconded by legislator Walpole. Mr. Jones, would you call the roll?
This is for the resolution as written. Margaret Kessler. I'm sorry.
Call the question.
Margaret Kessler.
On the resolution?
On the question.
On the question.
Yes.
Milford Potter.
Yes.
Edward Gilson. Absent excused. David Holst.
Yes.
Roy Reel.
Yes.
John Martino.
Yes.
Bradley Trudell.
Yes.
Paul House.
Yes.
James Weatherup.
Yes.
Mary Ellen Chesbro.
Yes.
Linda Lockwood.
Yes.
Richard Klein.
Yes.
Patrick Twist.
Yes.
Stephen Walpole.
Yes.
Nathan Evans. No. Thomas Drum.
No.
Shane Broadwell.
Yes.
Heather Del Conte.
So much for representative government, no.
Marie Schott.
No.
Tim Stahl.
Yes.
Terry Wilbur.
Yes.
James Krasick.
No.
Morris Cerbello.
Yes.
Daniel Fafaya.
No.
Frank Castillo.
No.
It is 7 opposed, 17 in favor.
So 2/3 to 17. All right, 2/3 to 17, we have a legal opinion on the numbers. So the question's been called, back to the original resolution then. All those in favor? We have to vote on the amendment? No, just we voted on the amendment as proposed, we failed. Now we voted on a question which called, which passed. Right. Now we're back to the original resolution. Thank you. So at this point, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
5 opposed.
Carried. Thank you, and that is what government's about at this point. Resolution GC4, Legislator Holtz.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution for introduction.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
A resolution calling for the repeal of the International Joint Commission's IJC Plan 2014.
Yes, ever since this plan has been run, we've had serious water problems, flooding, coffee, all over.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Broadwell.
I guess I would just comment as being a representative on the east side of the material here, describe that the amount of property loss. You talk to residents down there now, and if you look from the aerial snapshot of the property line, their property's out in the middle of the lake now. So God knows what the assessments are going to be. We all know that those properties used to be a higher value and a higher assessment. There's many that are within my district that have zero value and have been walked away from at this point. So I couldn't support this anymore for the people in the district along the way.
Thank you. Legislator Trudell.
I'll be voting in support of this resolution. Urge unanimous passage. the damage to lakefront properties for the lakefront districts is very, very extensive. And I believe it's primarily man-made, but it is of course exacerbated by natural occurrences as well, which, you know, with the last lake out of the 5 in the lineup here. And with what 2014 did, I think we're all relatively familiar with that, how it's man-made controlling the lake level. The detrimental effects are felt by residential, commercial, and by public properties. So if whatever we can do to alleviate that, we want to try. So this resolution will be saying, re-examine that and take a look at 2014 and hopefully withdraw that and take away the man-made portion. We can't do anything about the natural effects, but the man-made portion, we can do something about it.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Legislator Twist.
I just kind of want to reiterate what Legislator Broadwell mentioned. I mean, I know multiple homes that are underwater and probably never be lived again. I know homes that have pretty much been absolutely destroyed. This plan is obviously not working. It's, in my opinion, common sense. It's done nothing but devastation and it needs to be revised. We had a plan that worked for many years and we changed it to save swamp rats or something of the sort.
Swamp rats.
I don't know. Muskrats, there you go. Don't put that in the paper. The county has been actually opposed to this plan since 2006. And this resolution makes it known that we stand with our county residents along with the lake that live along the lake shore, and we oppose the plan in 2014 that has caused all this economic loss. And I can speak specifically in the town of New Haven, which I live in the legislature. It is going to be detrimental if we don't fix this in future years. And currently, if the state doesn't step up, it could be a very hurtful year for the taxpayers in New Haven because there's a very large tax base along that lakefront. Without it, it could hurt.
Thank you. Legislator Scott.
I just want to make it clear that the state didn't create this problem.
You're correct.
This problem occurred before 1953. It's at the Samuel V. Moses Dam, which is man-made. If Mitch McConnell had ceded the IJC in a timely manner, we wouldn't be at the mercy of Canada and putting full ocean-going vessels through a lake. There should be lake hulls when you're pulling huge loads through Lake Ontario. We are not an ocean. We are a valuable 2% of the Earth's fresh water. But this started with the feds. And we were dropped, we were annihilated. This was fought and won in '53. So I don't see why it can't be fought and won again through eminent domain. Our land was taken over without permission and destroyed. So I hope that they keep the IJC seated and fully functioning because it was a non-functioning body. Thank you.
Legislator Sorbonne.
Yeah, I just also want to bring the point, the biggest loss is the public and their housing and things like that, but business-wise, immensely, is going to be reflected in throughout our county. The businesses are suffering because of the increased water, which Mother Nature, being a farmer, it does change. But the fact that the water was raised and we did go for the conservation list, it has presented a problem. I hope that our businesses can survive throughout the county. And there's a lot of them are going to be hurting because of what's happening. And of course, Mother Nature's played a game a little bit, but still no, it's hurting.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Resolution PS1, Legislator Little.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer this resolution urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, E911 overtime payments.
So this is moving money within the 911 budget to help cover overtime and extra travel. As many of you may know, we put the ProQA EMD, emergency medical dispatch system into place. The software, our individuals who work at 911 need training on this software, so this pays for their overtime and mileage so that we can keep the center fully staffed while we're doing the training.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Resolution PS2, Legislator Wilk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing the chairman of the legislature to enter into a retainer agreement with Napoleon Shkolnik PLLC on behalf of the County of Oswego regarding possible litigation against the telecommunications companies and the collection of payment of E911 surcharges.
So what this resolution states in there is that this law firm, if they, when they investigate, if they find misappropriations back from these companies to Oswego County, then we will enter into the suit with the other counties that have had and are coming on board with this. So it's only if they do find misappropriations there. This is something that our state has failed to reimburse us for these funds and hasn't kept track of it. So instead, we have to do this. I think that was mentioned in committee. And then going along with that, you know, it's no different than not being fully reimbursed for our emergency 911 surcharges that we continually do a small portion of what we're doing. Thank you. Any discussion?
Do you have a first or a second on that, or do we not do the first and second? I have a question.
Legislator Christine.
I voted on this in committee and I was in favor of it, but in committee there was discussions. And we don't know how much money we've not received, correct? And we don't know how much money we're going to lose by them taking 25%. So my question is, how do we know that it wouldn't be advantageous to have our own legal department handle this for us so we don't lose 25%? That would be my question to Mr. Mitchell's office. I mean, it's a very nice department.
They're already short-staffed. It's a little small.
The first question, we back off the other counties and find out what's going on.
Other counties through NISAC have retained Holy Skolnick to look into suing AT&T, Frontier, Verizon. Those are large companies with a lot of resources. I would recommend going with a law firm that has the resources to take on Fortune 100 companies, Fortune 500 companies. What they're going to do is investigate, and if they find that the county is owed money because the telecoms have not collected this from the customers and remitted it to the county, the resolution authorizes them to commence suit. There's no recovery. We do not pay any legal fees. If there is a recovery, they take 25% of the recovery, which has been negotiated, from what I can see, through NISAC with the other counties to do this. And there's also leverage going with a law firm that is already in suit with these large companies to get document production and things like that. That would be my recommendation.
I understand that there's no upfront fees. And that's not, my point is you're still losing 25%. It's we've lost $1 million. They should have paid us $1 million. They fined $1 million. That's 25% of that. That law firm is going to keep.
They may find that no money is owed to the county, and it doesn't make sense for the county to pursue this. And there's hotel tax litigation, there's generic drug pricing, price fixing litigation that we will be discussing next month. Pharmaceutical average wholesale price litigation, we went to larger law firms because they have the resources and the abilities far beyond our office to handle these things.
Legislator Chadwell.
My question is, why would we want to use our staff chasing the rainbow that may not exist versus our staff should be doing work that they know they need to do, and because there may not be any money out there.
Right.
And I would rather have our staff doing the stuff that they know they have to do than chasing something may not even be there.
Thank you. Any other? Oh, yes, more
But this law firm's not going to take on a client that they're not going to get money from. So there's money out there. It's just how much of it we're going to lose. And I'll be in favor of it, but I'm just saying that at some point in time, we have to start saying, how much are we losing? And is it something that we can use as for services within this county instead of giving it to another law firm? Sorry.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Resolution IT 1 by Legislator Walpole.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have the following resolution urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution accepting an FAA grant establishing capital project number 107 to rehabilitate an aircraft apron construction phase at the Oswego County Airport.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as we know, there's been several upgrades at the airport. Our director, Brandon, is doing a great job getting things moving up there. One of the first things that catches your eye is the apron. We upgraded last year. He had applied for a grant. We really didn't anticipate on getting it with the amount of grants we have received. But luckily we did. It just came in recently. And the total cost is $1,284,200. Local share of $64,200.
Just for clarity, it's my understanding that that could be, our local share could be in-kind services?
That's correct. That's correct. Through the highway department.
Yes. Any discussion? Legislator Castillo.
Now it's coming into three-part question. One, what is our local share amounted to so far in the Air Force? Do you have any idea on that?
64 on this project.
No, total local share, because everything is always local share. Our local share is only 5%. Our local share is only 5%. It's kind of like if you keep giving me a dime, how often, how much am I giving you after a while?
Back how many years would have to go back?
Well, let's just say I've been here 6 years.
But
Sir, it's an astronomical amount of money. Okay? But the other point is how is this reducing our loss at the airport? The amount of money that we lose every year at the airport. Is this going to reduce that amount of money that we're losing every year? And third part is how much are we into the federal government for if we wanted to sell this place right now?
Legislator Belconte, or excuse me, Legislator Shaw.
All right, I had my discussions about the airport, as y'all know. But from a business standpoint, right now, we're in, and I'm praying something good will happen. But if we don't maintain the runways and aprons, we are at direct liability, which is something that terrifies me as much as the spend. I'll look forward to see what the next year brings, number-wise. I hope it's on the uptick.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Legislator Twist.
I just wanted to point out that whenever you apply for a grant, almost every time you're going to have to match. I mean, it's just kind of part of the government process. And if we weren't ever going to match grants, we'd never ever get anything done. So that's all I wanted to point out.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
One opposed.
Thank you. Carried. Resolution EP1, Legislator Stahl.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make this resolution, offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing applications for funding and intermunicipal agreements to support the enhancement and further development of the Legends Field complex.
Okay, thank you. As many of you know, the county owns the softball fields out by the jail, known as Legends Field Sports Complex. We, as a legislature, entered into a lease agreement with the city of Oswego. They are in the midst of, I believe, a 5-year agreement that expires something or 2022, somewhere like that. What's that? Oh, sorry. With that in mind, the folks who are currently managing it are looking to apply for a grant. And as we are the owners, in order for them to apply for a grant, they need our permission. And that comes in the form of the resolution that we're offering here. What we're looking to do by this resolution is say that we would support them applying for that grant application. There is often legislature just said, there is often a portion that we would have to pay ourselves if you're applying for a grant. The idea of what we're looking at here is to say, as a group between us, the city of Oswego, and the folks who run it, we would like to partner in this project. Ultimately, if they are successful in the grant application, it would come back to this legislature to act at that point. There's no financial ties to this. It's essentially just saying we own it, and we want them to be able to make a grant application. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Legislator Shaw.
So, what I'm understanding here now, it was much different at the meeting, is that we'll have no money in it, just champions will.
I think when this resolution reads, is that we would perhaps have an in-kind contribution.
Yeah, I mean, if I could, ultimately, if and when the state awards funds to this project, there will most likely be a 20% of the project that needs to be covered somehow. What this resolution is saying is that we will partner with those two other folks to say this is part of our project, and there could be a portion of it that we ultimately do end up deciding to cover. It is our property. Ultimately, if this lease does expire, any of these repairs or work that's been done, including some stuff that needs to be done just for the safety relation. I mean, again, like Legislator Schott had said earlier at the airport, if you don't fix up, you don't maintain the things you own, there is liability. So it'd be nice to have other people help cover the cost of doing that. But there could be a cost down the road. Again, we will see that ultimately if they are awarded and it comes back to us.
And at that point, for clarity, we would vote as a body, we would vote on that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Legislator Schott.
It just seems, on inspecting it and looking at the numbers, the fields are built in a hole, probably where the parking lot should have been built. And the parking lot is up high and dry where the field should have been built. I only know about equine surfaces, but for the size of those fields, to have AstroTurf, I defy them to make that number and cover it with AstroTurf for the amount mentioned. I simply can't believe it. None of these are fictitious numbers in my opinion. We'll see.
Thank you. Legislator Castillo.
Do we have, how much the cost of the rehab is going to be? Do we have any idea? Do we have any numbers? We didn't have any numbers at the meeting the other day.
But ultimately, the decision for the grant application is going to go through the folks who make the application. I would assume they would reach out to us to look for a letter of recommendation. Again, we do own the property. But that is still up in the air. But it does need to be, this is going to be a CFA application, which will need to be finalized by the end of this month. I would assume that we would not make a letter of recommendation if we were not in support of what they were looking to do on our property. So my hope and my belief would be that we would see that before a letter of recommendation comes out. Ultimately, again, we are the final say on what happens to our property, and that will come back before this legislature.
But that's not the way I understand it. Right now, you're saying, yes, we'll go in, but we don't know how much it's going to cost yet.
Well, again, we're not putting any money on this.
I understand that we're not putting any money up, but we are signing up that we will support them in this operation for the application of the grant, and then we will go forward with if we like it, okay? And I'm sorry, it's not something that, you're asking me to sign up for something that I don't know how much it's gonna cost.
Okay.
You really don't.
I believe the administrator has something.
I can help you with some of the numbers. They're applying for a CFA grant. The maximum amount they can apply for is $600,000. All right, so the match to that would be $200,000. If we split it three ways between the management company, the city, and the county, our cost would be about $66,000 to improve the facility by $800,000.
But that's if they were.
If they are awarded the maximum
They
amount.
may not even ask for 600, right?
I understand, okay, I understand what you're saying. But the point is, $600,000, is that gonna cover what they are looking to have done out there? Okay, or is that only half of the cost?
Even if it's only half the cost, all this resolution does is address the CFA grant. So anything else they would want from us would have to be a separate request to us.
So we're willing to put in $66,000 a year.
No, once.
Once.
Which could be done by repairing.
$66,000, and we're gonna get $20,000 back.
Where's the $20,000?
The $20,000, you're gonna get $18,000 in bed tax, and you're gonna get $2,600 in gasoline taxes. So we're gonna spend $66,000 to receive $20,000 back. Now, I know that other people are gonna make more money. The management companies can make more money, and so isn't the city.
I think
So aren't the hotels.
I think the figures you're quoting are for 1 year. You can put the $66,000 in, perhaps by repairing the parking lot, But then those are, the numbers you quoted are based on estimates for 2019. The management company is able to improve this facility, which is one of the few six-field facilities in the area, to become a major draw. That's going to increase every year. But even if it stayed the same at 2019 levels, you get your money back in 3 years.
Thank you. Legislator Trudeau.
I'll be voting in favor of this resolution, but I will tell you, I was initially very skeptical, as some of you heard about it, but I'm satisfied with the language in the resolution. In the last paragraph, resolve the chairman is authorized to enter into municipal, public-private agreements for the completion of these enhancements when they become necessary, and once said, agreements are approved by this body. The way I see this resolution is that we are entering into an agreement to collaborate with the city and to collaborate with the users down there. But anything going forward, we are not authorizing money now. We are not authorizing any expenditures, et cetera. We're authorizing to collaborate for the purpose of looking for grant money. That's my understanding of it. Like I said, I was initially very skeptical of this because it seemed slightly nebulous, but reading it over again, and like I said, I'm the novice here, I'm the new guy. When I read that last statement, once the said agreements are approved by this body, going forward, we'll look for agreements that will be put to us, which will not be nebulous. They will be solid, and we'll know what the numbers are.
Thank you. Legislator Cheslin.
From my understanding that as the owner of this land, we really are holding everything in our hand, because if we vote no, they cannot even apply for the grant. If we vote yes, at least they can apply for the grant, and then the information comes back to us as to what we're going to spend. So by voting no, no grant will be applied for. Is that correct?
Any other discussion? Mr. Legislator Sobel.
Yes, I want to make a point. Once again, business. Aren't we concerned about business coming here? And this will create business. As I understood today, there are no hotel rooms available today for the games that are going on out there this weekend. This is bringing business to hotels, restaurants, and so on. This is creating all kinds of things for us, bed taxes and so on. That's just the selfish part of the county. It's creating business. That's what we have to have. Tools to create business, and we got it.
Thank you. Legislator Shaw.
How long would the agreement tie us to Champions if they get the grant?
I know that info.
Well, I believe if we make an agreement with them, we would only sign based on the agreements that we would accept, so.
It's a negotiation also.
Yeah, we are on that point now.
I just didn't know the term. But again, I think we're in the driver's seat, so. Any other discussion? Legislator Castillo.
Legislator Sorvello brings up a good point, bringing in business, and I'm not against business, and I don't care how much they spend, the management company in the city of Oswego, to bring in all the business, and they reap the benefits from it. But it's costing $66,000 of taxpayer money to do that. In the first year, we're only going to get $20,000 back. The hotels are all full. We're getting $1,000, or no, it's $18,000 from the hotels. But gas, we're only going to get $2,600 back. And I'm sorry, Legislator Twist brings up the point, well, they must have spent the money on muskrat studies or something. I'm sorry, right now we're spending $66,000 of taxpayer money that could be used for services somewhere, like digging out the trenches, so the ditches, so that we don't have flooding and ruining people's driveways. We could be spending it on that instead of a baseball field that, is going to be used by a management company that's going to reap so much. How much is the management company going to reap every year off these improvements? Do we know that? Do we have that answer?
We would perhaps have a gross dollar, but we wouldn't know their net.
It seems to me if you go to a bank and ask for how much your income is to get a loan, they have to come up with that. They're coming to us to ask us to sign on for them to get a grant and then to get a loan from us to pay part of the money back.
If I could.
If we don't understand it and we don't know it, then we shouldn't be presenting.
There's another important piece to remember. This is our property. I don't know if any of you are landlords or no landlords, but if someone is to put in investment into your property and ultimately all they have is a lease and they leave, anything that's in there is now yours. And I think it's important to remember that if anybody's been out there, we were out there for our Economic Development Committee meeting, that parking lot needs to be done. I mean, it needs to be done, just the liability statement parking lot needs to be done. And that would be something that would cover what would be our portion if and when this grant is awarded. So it's something to keep in mind at least.
Thank you. Legislator Twist.
I just want to point out, this resolution has nothing to do with money. This is so they can apply for a grant. We've said that 1,000 times in this. In essence, it's a formality, right? We have to do it, like Legislator Chesborough said, because we own the property. That's all it is. We can have a conversation about the money later, because right now they're just trying to improve a property. That's all it is. There's really nothing to talk about as far as money.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
4 opposed, 5 opposed.
I would mention that we do have a picnic at 4:30.
We had a nighttime meeting, we wouldn't have a problem.
Well, you'd be at the picnic, you'd fill up and you wouldn't want to come. Resolution EP2, legislator Strong.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to introduce the resolution and I urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing an agreement between Oswego County and the Oswego County Industrial Development Agency.
Right, one of the things we've been talking about quite a bit around in this county is infrastructure, wastewater, and things like that. One of the things that we've identified in that economic development strategic plan that we've been working diligently through is that there is insufficient wastewater treatment throughout our county. One of the things we're looking to study is specifically the capacity out in the Fulton, Golney, Tropel area. There is some funding that the Economic Development Office for our county has secured a grant that would help to pay for a study to look and see what we can do there. Maybe there's expansion possibilities here. They'd like to use that money, and then we're going to partner with the IDA, who will be paying on their behalf.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Drummond.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Church, what budget line is this coming out of? I'm not familiar with it, just reading the memo here.
It's actually coming out of leftover monies in the Canal Corridor grant that is an account held by the Treasurer's Office right now.
Okay.
So it's not in a budget, one of our budget lines. It's money left over from previous award.
Okay, thank you. And then just a follow-up, if I could. I served on our task force for this economic advancement plan. I support wastewater. I understand the need to expand wastewater in certain areas of this county. Where I think we need to start drawing a line is allocating funds to continue to partner. We partnered with the IDA to do this study in the first place. To continue to partner post the study when we have the results of the study, for me, it isn't in the county's interest. So I'll be opposing.
It is refreshing to hear that Lydell is willing to accept some wastewater from us quite a bit. And another town to look at would be Minetto, which right now is $1 million a day, go up to $2 million a day without tremendous effort. So that seems to be the corridor that it would be up and running quickly. So I think we should really look long and hard at it.
Thank you. I would offer that the previous chairman, who was in the room, had these discussions and started these with others. We've had these discussions up and down the corridor for a while. Government does move pretty slow. I commend Legislator Broadwell for his part of this. But is there any other discussion?
I want to bring up one thing. I happen to work on the IDA, and I'm somewhat prejudiced with projects and businesses. But if you have no infrastructure, you have no business. So we need to do something about our infrastructure. We need infrastructure in this county, and it has to be done in certain areas. And I think this is exactly where we're talking about right now. We just had a speaker a little while ago to tell you what they're doing. And you can understand that we need this infrastructure to create business.
Well, we're not driving the price down, but he's still in the room.
Legislator Drummond. No, and I would agree with Legislator Sabella. I mean, I was in the room when we were talking about this, and the needs there. I mean, we have a study that's proven that. For me, it's time to cut the IDA off and let the IDA be the IDA and find the funds to do this stuff themselves. They're an economic development engine supposedly, so let's let them do it. We put the county money up to figure this stuff out in the first place. Now it's time to let them go and be the IDA, in my opinion.
Perhaps, but that's another discussion.
It sure is.
Ditto. Another discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
4 opposed.
Thank you. Resolution EP3, Legislator Stahl.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make this resolution in urgent adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution to engage consultants for design, engineering, and construction management services for Oswego River Access Project.
I think everyone's aware and remembers over the last years, we've talked about this for quite some time now. We're at the step now where the RFP process has gone through, and there is a recommendation here after going through all the RFPs, and it's to award it to a firm called Geimo. And as you see in here, the local match amount is going to be primarily through in-kind services.
Thank you. Any discussion? I'm going to go with her first. Let's just take a shot.
Okay, I probably have 75 mosquito bites to prove. I went down the bank. I'm an avid kayaker, have been for 25 years. My question is, what is the DEC saying about cutting into that steep bank so hard? And, I mean, it's going to be an interesting approach, I must say.
I'm sure we would, we'd have to comply with anything the DEC put forward. Legislator Castillo.
I just want to piggyback off that for a second. I have my own questions, okay? Going down that bank, I asked in the, EDP meeting what the drop-off is, and it's 30 feet. And my understanding, any state or federal money that we receive has to have anything handicapped accessible. And with that being said, I don't know how they can make it, for $200,000 handicapped accessible at that point. Are in turn using manpower and materials is going to be astronomical. It boggles my mind that we're putting it in, and the reasoning behind it in committee was because we don't have an entry point between Oswego and Minetto. And people feel nervous going through the locks. And it was brought up a point about the 800 participants in Paddle Fest, which is great. It's a one-time thing, but they want to go right straight down through and get off down in the harbor. But my point is that for us to come up with 100, maybe even $200,000, once we start in, you can't stop. It's going to cost us $25,000 a mile. It's 4 miles from Oswego to Minetto between the locks. And that's for the people to be able to go up and come back, for maybe 100 people to use throughout the course of the year other than the one event. Now, I'm sorry, it's not that it shouldn't be done, but I don't think it should be at the county's expense to do it. We're going down on the state land or the barge canal owns the land so far back. How far back does the state own the land, Rich, from the river on the bank?
The blue line for the canal, I don't know, but the land that is covered by the grant is county-owned land.
All the way down to the river?
It may cut into the blue line farther down. I would have to look. With the change in the river, I don't know what it currently looks like. There's also a abandoned lock from the 1800s or foundation for waterworks that is there as well, that may be within the blue line. But the access point is proposed to be on county land. If there's a state, it shouldn't be on state land, it should be county land. And we would probably need a permit from the state in Elkhorn if there's a dock or something like that.
During the meeting, after the meeting, I suggested to Administrator Phil that we would be able to go down about a mile down from that, north of that site, there's already a parking lot, which has already been put in. And there's already almost a walkway down to an entry point that is maybe 10 feet up, from the cement down to the river. And the cost would be probably half of what we're talking about doing now. And I guess we can't use that?
Well, sir, that is owned by somebody else. So if you're advocating, if your motion is to buy that property.
I want somebody else to do it, is what I'm saying. I don't want us to do it. $100,000 is a lot of money for 100 people. Thank you, that's it. I won't be in favor of this.
Legislator Cook.
Just want to point out we're a county that thrives on tourism, and without it, our county is going to crumble. So this is just another great little spot, little nook that we can provide to the people of this county and to any visitors we have.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Legislator Karasik.
Yeah, I know that when they run the paddle fest and they do things over on the Minetto side where they loaded, they made sure that they had accessibility for people in chairs, that if they wanted to partake in this. I don't completely understand how someone in a wheelchair is going to be able to go down that hill and get into a kayak.
Somebody really strong behind
It baffles me at the moment. Now, I've seen some pretty amazing things traveling through the state, but I would like to know that they are going to follow ADA.
It's required that they do as a term of the grant that we receive.
They've got to follow ADA.
Yeah.
All right.
And then the company's aware of that.
They're not, I will make them aware.
My understanding, though, sir, is there is a switchback involved. It's not just a straight shot.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to bring up. This is going to be designed to accomplish what we need to accomplish to get those boats and people in and out of the river. It's a good spot. It's got a parking area. And once again, tourism is important. Tourism is one of our biggest things we have in this county. So we adapt to our natural resources.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
4 opposed.
Thank you. Resolution EP4, Legislator Stahl.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution awarding professional services contract RFP CD-002 Media Monitoring Solutions.
As we've seen, this is we're kind of moving more into a digital age these days, and one of the things that everyone's more and more aware of is your online reputation. And a very important thing for this county is what are people saying about us. We need to know if there's something that's incorrect. We want to be able to respond to it. One of the items that is offered through this company that we're looking to retain would be that service, which is something that they have provided some ideas. I think I've seen it. But the idea is that they can go out there and they can tell you, here's what's happening, here's what people are saying about you, here's some of the good things, and here's some of the things maybe we need to deal with. Also, this does need to be amended. The director of economic development did go back to them and was able to get them to drop the price from $8,500 to $7,700. So I'm going to take that amendment if I could.
Thank you. Second. And a second on the amendment. So, let's go with the amendment first. We'll do a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Back to the original. Any discussion? Legislator Shaw.
Okay, Google has a premium $100 a month program at brand24.com for $100 a month. Does analytics, pull your name up every time it's mentioned. Somebody can check it daily in the office. I just feel like this is a waste of money.
Legislator Castillo.
I piggybacking off Legislator Shaw. I just can't see why we're going to spend $7,700 for something we can get for $1,200 or maybe even get for free. Okay, and the manpower could be used in such as interns from all the colleges we have throughout the county. I just feel that this is just a what's happened here and all of these resolutions so far. It looks like somebody's just got some money and they want to hurry up and spend it. And I'm not in favor of spending taxpayer money if we can get it at a reasonable price, and it's for a service. This is not a service to the taxpayers. I'm sorry. Just because somebody in South Africa has got a friend online on the internet that says, hey, how's the fishing in Oswego County? And all of a sudden it pops up somewhere, hey, they're asking about fishing down in South Africa, you know? Well, I'm sorry, I've got a friend in Taiwan, and he may ask me something about how's the hunting, you know, and up here in Fulton, in Oswego County now. And it's gonna pop up that, hey, they're asking about the hunting. That is ludicrous for us to pay for that information, I'm sorry.
Legislator Wilson. Legislator Kraft.
Now, how long is this for?
I believe it to be 1 year.
Is that an auto renew or is that gonna come back?
Even if it's an auto renew, they all say that it's renewable annually.
So that'll come back to the committee after
Yeah.
review? Okay, thank you.
And they do, if I could, they also do offer measurables. What we had talked about, the other items you want to see when you've got a website. How well is it? How well are people responding to this? Are they actually clicking on it? Are we seeing that? And that is something they also add along with the, hey, someone says something not nice about me and my hunting skills.
Thank you. Legislator Johnson.
First question, is this being funded out of 2019's budget? The planning department?
Yeah.
It's budgeted that.
No, it's just budget out of internal to the department, correct?
Yes, it's in it. They have the money in their budget to allocate.
Right, we've been doing this.
And then the question for the county administrator, what's the allocation of county funding to planning department, the tourism department, excuse me, on an annual basis? What's it hover around, about $1 million a year? Right around there?
I didn't bring it up, but.
That's fine, it's around $1 million a year, if my mind is correct. We can figure this stuff in-house. I come from a profession where we track, during media, track this exact stuff. We're allocating $1 million a year to a department. We can figure this out in-house. This is silly. I understand the point behind it, but it's fruitful. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Legislator Chesbro.
As you're saying, we're investing $1 million in this department, and I would think that $7,600 would be a minor thing to verify and to justify what is going out. What are we doing with that? Is what we're doing correct? Are we bringing people in? How many people are looking at this? And I think it's a lot more than just buying a Google thing to be able to check. This company has to be checking a lot more sophisticated and be able to find if there is a problem out there to let us know about it much quicker. It's a big investment we have in tourism. I don't mind this amount of money verifying that we're doing the right job.
Thank you. Legislator Johnson.
Yeah, I would just say, when we invest that $1 million into that department, we invest in the people. And from doing this type of work before, I have confidence in our folks down there that they could figure this out. This is something that can be done for virtually very little money. So when we put that $1 million in that budget, I would like to think the county taxpayers invest in those department heads to figure things out like this. In my opinion, we might just have a different.
Thank you. Legislator Trudell.
I just want to make a brief comment, because I can't let this one go, but Google. Would we trust Google to handle information for us, to pay them $100 a month when we know that they manipulate data, that they contrive data, so just had to make that comment.
Understood. Legislator Steele.
I just find it really something that about the poorest county in the state thinks nothing else, just sending $7,700 to find out information about what we're doing right and wrong, when it could be found out either free or even for $1,200 a year. I'm sorry, for somebody to say that $7,700 is minimal cost, that's for a poor county, I can't see that. It's not a service to the taxpayers, and I will not be in favor of it.
Legislator Twist.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is about marketing. In any business, you want to market to the public what you have. In Oswego County, what do we have? We have tourism, as I said earlier. We have to sell ourselves to people, to the fishermen, to the campers, to everybody. And this will give us a great asset in order to do that. Now, as far as the pricing, unfortunately, I don't personally know that. That's your research, not mine. But I think it will be a great asset to the planning department. So I'm in favor of it.
Thank you.
One last. was 4 years ago, I brought this up in committee, that we came out our new high-tech travel and tourism program that triggered every time somebody checked in to see what was going on in Oswego County, what to do here. So I think we're marketing, our travel and tourism department does a great job at marketing, and their cost that we put forward for that has been minimal, and it has been great. And every time you look at it, somebody knows who looked at it, what they looked at it for. This, I don't think is going to do anything for us. I would not be in favor of it.
Yeah, and again, I do want to highlight that this was brought forward from the director of this department. I want to echo what was said earlier, that we do have excellent people working there. I don't want to micromanage to this kind of an idea here. I mean, if that department believes that they have a better return on investment, their salary, we keep hearing about the fringe side and all that, to pay for this, what I would say is that this is probably money well spent if that's the recommendation of that department. And again, I want to encourage that department to bring those things forward.
True. Sure.
Just for the record, I forgot I do carry the county budget in my phone. The tourism division is $631,000.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
5 opposed.
Resolution EEP 5, legislator's comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make this resolution in just adoption.
As I live. The clerk, please read the heading.
Resolution expressing support to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration for the designation of the Lake Ontario National Marine Sanctuary, docket number NOAA-NOS-2019-0032.
This is another exciting resolution we're able to offer. The reason we're able to offer this is because it's moved on to the next step. And so this is the, right now there's a open comment period, and we are being encouraged to essentially to comment, say we do support this. And one of the things we're going to say is that we do support this, but also we want to remind them that we're not looking for any additional regulations. We've got a lot of amazing stuff going on out there in that lake, and we don't really want anybody to stop us from being able to market it. So.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Resolution 8E1, legislator Carrasco. Legislator Zarvello with an assist.
Mr. Chairman, I present this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing the chairman to execute a lease agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management Incorporated concerning health department vehicles.
And the person that understands all this is our administrator, Phil Church. Rather than own our vehicles, possibly this might be an alternate purpose. So I turn this over to Phil.
As you know, we've been looking at this possibility of entering a commercial vehicle lease with Enterprise for a couple of years. Other counties that have done this have experienced fairly good success and some savings, which piqued my interest with it. I was a little hesitant, though, to convert our entire fleet all at once. Talking with the health department is willing to pilot this to see how it works out. Right now, the numbers work out that we would be saving about $38,000 a year entering into these lease for the health department's fleet of vehicles. This would end the practice of running county vehicles into the ground and having a lot of maintenance costs and liability risks with them. Our people will be driving newer vehicles as they are circulated out by Enterprise, which is the largest fleet management company in North America. So they have a great deal of experience of when the right time is to circulate a vehicle out and sell it and replace it with a new one. So they're willing to give this a try at the health department. What I would recommend is that we go ahead with this. We will monitor it and analyze it over the next couple of years, make a decision whether it's something that we should stay with or whether we should expand it to other departments if it turns out to meet its goals of saving taxpayers money and operating safer vehicles.
Thank you. Legislator Bravo.
Just a comment, there was a lot of good discussion about this in committee. I totally support this concept, especially, starting in the health department as well. I think just as a comment, the county still needs to address overall fleet maintenance for all departments and come up with a plan. This plan does not include maintenance on these vehicles, so that is separate. I totally support the resolution starting this, but the county needs to focus on a fleet maintenance program countywide at the same time this year. Should be a conversation.
Thank you. Legislator Kraft.
A couple of caveats with this is that these cars will be pulled and replaced with another new car by Enterprise when they find the best value to be able to sell that, and we do get a small piece of that sale of the cars. The other thing that will add up to even possibly bigger savings is because these cars don't age on us, our maintenance costs should go down significantly because we don't have cars that are in the shop every other month. And keep in mind also, this is not like a private lease. There is no mileage ding on this. This is corporate cars, so I think we need to start this process somewhere, and I think the health department and their small fleet is a good place to make that start.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All opposed?
Thank you. Resolution HE2, Legislator Grasset-Sorbello.
I present this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing the execution of a consignment agreement with Enterprise concerning health department fleet vehicles to be replaced by leased vehicles.
This is one more tool contract we need to accomplish.
Yeah, this is the second three resolutions that go together. This consigns health department's vehicles that are 10 or 11 years old to Enterprise to sell for the best price they can get in the market.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All opposed?
Carried. Resolution HE3 by Legislator Sorbello.
Present this resolution, Mr. Chairman, and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, health department, automotive rental.
This is another contract which we've got to work out.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All opposed?
Carried. Thank you. Resolution HS1, Legislator Rehill.
Mr. Chairman, offer the following resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, Office for the Aging, Unmet Needs Grant Funding.
This is a grant that was received in the amount of $114,108. It's going to move into the budget lines under consulting having to do with a dietitian, mileage, salary and fringe, and other fees and services.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution HS2, Legislator Rehill.
I offer the following resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing submission of New York State Consolidated Funding Application for Camp Hollis Lodge.
This is in order for us to apply for a $235,000 grant for Camp Hollis. Use the same language that we applied for last year and did not get it. The local match would be $78,500, some of which we can use in-kind services to provide.
Thank you. And remember, the picnic is out there. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution HS3, Legislator Rehill.
Mr. Chairman, I offer the following resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing the creation of one position and deletion of two positions in the Department of Social Services.
This combines with the resolution to follow HS4. This particular one is to delete two positions and create one position of senior accountant. Together, these changes will create a stronger financial team in DSS, and I know they've worked really hard to get this together and have between the two a positive budget impact on an annual basis of $243 between the two.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Castillo.
You know, I had talked before a little bit. Both of them, as Legislator Reed will say, kind of combined together, HS3 and HS4. So I'll ask the same question for each one of them. I'll get it over with now. But I'd like to know just how is this going to reduce our poverty rate in Oswego County, and how would this reduce the number of people on public assistance in Oswego County?
Well, this is designed not for those specific purposes, because the people in the accounting department are really dealing with auditing and making sure that we're getting the reimbursements that we need so that we can fulfill all the duties of the rest of the staff at DSS. So I think the fact that we're going to be more efficient and better prepared to get the appropriate amounts of money back from the state is going to allow us to do a better job at DSS.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Legislator Wilbur.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to actually thank the Commissioner and her staff for doing the due diligence. We did table this at Finance and Personnel. Previously brought it back, and then she brought it back with a bunch of detail and changed it up a little bit. And there is a clear set forth plan here that's going to help the accounting division in that department as a whole. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
One opposed?
Resolution HS4, Legislator Rita.
Mr. Chairman, I offer the following resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing the reclassification of one position in the Department of Social Services.
So this provides for an upgrade of the senior account clerk to a principal account clerk. Again, the total between these two will be a net positive for the budget.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
One opposed?
Resolution HS5, Legislator Rita.
Mr. Chairman, I'm excited to offer the following resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing the County of Oswego to accept a donation of a Gaga pit from Girl Scout Troop 10248.
I'm told that Gaga is an exciting new sport of some sort. Getting to be an old geezer myself, I don't know anything about it, but it sounds pretty neat, and we might want to consider having a legislative team to go out there and have the team. I'll be the captain.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Resolution HS6, Legislator Rita.
Mr. Chairman, I offer the following resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing the County of Oswego to accept a donation of a plaque monument from Friends of Oswego County Hospice.
There's a program called Camp Rainbow of Hope that has to do with bringing folks who have lost loved ones in, and this is a plaque that won't cost us any money in order to commemorate 20 years of Camp Rainbow of Hope. They also use Camp Hollis. You go out there afterwards. Department head Chetman might be able to show you exactly where they plan to put it.
Thank you. Any discussion? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. There's no resolutions for F&B this morning? Thank you, sir. Unfinished business. Legislator Wilbur.
Mr. Chairman, I think this is appropriate, but I'd like to actually make a motion, and I just talked to my counterpart across the aisle, that to make us in line with the rules so that our August meeting can be annually like it normally is in Pulaski. So I'd like to make that motion.
Second. Second by Legislator Castillo. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Miscellaneous business. Whoa, the hands go up. Legislator McFeather.
All right, I hope this isn't going to get me in trouble, but I will be very brief. Yesterday, I was contacted by the daughter of former legislator Doug Malone, and she wants to extend an invitation to all of you to a chicken barbecue that will raise money for a memorial scholarship in his name. It will be on August 4th at Malone Irish Hideaway from 12 to 4. I will send everybody an email about this as we get closer to that day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Legislator Wilson, I'll pass. And other hands, Legislator Tucker.
Yeah, just to avoid some problems with the minutes on the next meeting, I'd just like to request that the clerk make note that this meeting started at 2:09. Thank you.
Put down as my fault.
Miscellaneous business, correct?
That's what we're shooting for, yes.
With the failure of the amendments that we put forward at the beginning of this meeting, I will probably be taking a long, hard look at doing a write-in campaign, maybe run it, it's going to be 4 years. I might decide to stay in this thing. So I'm going to take a look at it, and I may run a write-in campaign.
Understood, no campaigning in this room.
Or not campaigning, just let you know what I'm going to do.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to make everybody aware, invitations will be coming August 6th is Legislative Day at the County Fair. We will be starting the day's events at 5 p.m. We'll start with a brief on-foot tour, followed by an official opening of the fair with a dinner after that, and finalizing it out, finishing it out with a tram through the parade. And all are invited. Invitations will be coming, but please RSVP if you're going to come, so we can make sure we have the right. Thank you.
I'll make the motion.
Is that?
I'll make the motion to close this.
Yeah, we still got public comment period. No, we're adjourned.
Adjourn for
Thank you. Now we can motion to adjourn. Second. Adjourn.